In this brief video, I discussed this module's project paper. In light of a few comments from students during Module 2, I thought it may be helpful if I review the project worksheet to make sure that you understand what is expected of your assignment upon its final submission. In this project, you'll create a rhetorical analysis of metaphors that you find in an essay in this module's readings. The length of this paper should be approximately 3 or 4 pages, but no fewer than 800 words in length in terms of its body. That excludes title, works cited. The text that you'll draw from is Rebecca Moore Howard's Sexuality, Textuality, The Cultural Work of Plagiarism, which you can find in our course reader on pages 61 through 82. Again, here your objective is to analyze the rhetorical aspects of her essay by way of teasing out her metaphors. In this unit, we discuss and you read about how writers and readers play an active role in how you, the reader, and oftentimes the writer, construct a text. As you will see, understanding the rhetorical situation is pivotal in both engaging and creating text. That is, making the choices that you make actively rather than passively. And so in this assignment, you're going to analyze Rebecca Moore Howard's essay to create an argument that centers on her writing's use of metaphors or figurative language or anything that you think kind of pops out at you. In doing so, you want to more than simply summarize or compile information. That is, you're not looking to only describe what her text is, but rather you're trying to pull away the cover and look under it to see how it operates and why it does those things. That is, you seek to take part in the active generation of meaning. You seek to assign meaning here. To that end, you will compose a cogent, coherent argument that demonstrates your understanding of rhetorical situations and their constituents. In this way, you aim to create a multi-paragraph essay that is not one long paragraph that stems across 3 pages, but something that you've compiled with information and that you've then restructured and restructured and restructured again until it's something that's able to be followed by the reader. The reader can follow from start to finish and understand why you've gone through the steps that you've gone. In assessing your paper, I will focus on the same 5 traits as I have in the other 2 papers, however at different weights. Your thesis is worth 20% of your grade. How coherent your paper is will affect 25% of your grade. The amount of evidence and the way you treat your evidence will affect 25% of your grade. The mechanical correctness, that is the number of errors on any given page, will affect your paper at 15%. And stylistically, for plain style, saying things as plainly as possible here, 15%. As in the previous modules, you must complete at least one rough draft of this paper and meet with your instructor or TA in order to submit the final draft of this paper. If you do not submit this draft, you cannot earn any points for your final submission here. As a general note, as I've noted elsewhere in person and online, students who go through many drafts of this process, who compose their writing and edit it and revise it and meet again and again, whether in person or through Blackboard submissions, tend to produce writing that receives higher marks. For an obvious reason. It's gone through the process many times and it's been refined, and you've refined it to a place where you've treated many of the problems that you might not have been able to treat if you only go through one draft. In response also to previous module work, if you submit any writing that fails to meet MLA requirements for formatting, that is 1-inch margins or with a header on the tops of pages that includes your last name and the page number, or, for example, if you fail to use a works cited page for outside sources or any sort of citation and quoting, your paper will lose 25% of off the top of its grade. If you're unfamiliar with your MLA or you're just unsure about it, feel free to submit a draft and we can talk about it. Or you can come in person and we can talk about it. One of our course textbooks is Writing Matters, which is a handbook that contains an MLA section for these kinds of rules. They're very simple and direct. Moreover, you can just Google Purdue OWL, our online writing lab, and you'll find a quick set of directions for how to enact these kinds of policies to make sure your paper conforms to MLA requirements. Regardless here, you have no excuse for not submitting papers that are not double-spaced, that do not have 1-inch margins, and that do not have 12-point font. Lastly, if your paper is material insufficient, that is, if it's shorter than 800 words in its length, your paper will also lose 25% of its value. Please make sure that you understand these requirements before you submit this paper. Moreover, please submit drafts of this paper beforehand to help yourself avoid these kinds of issues.